CBS Broadcast Center in Los Angeles. This is CBS2 News at 5 p.m.
Tonight, a murder mystery in Ventura County. A man is dead, a woman is hurt, and detectives are piecing together how it happened and who did it.
A neighbor described blood-curdling screams early this morning in the city of Thousand Oaks.
Yeah, when police arrived at Megan Place just north of Thousand Oaks Boulevard, they came across a bloody crime scene.
Well, that's where CBS 2's Randy Page is live with what witnesses saw today. Randy?
Jeff, Susie, we spoke to a roommate who lives upstairs. He says he was up in his room when he heard an argument downstairs involving his roommate and his roommate's girlfriend. He says then he started to hear the sound of things breaking. So he walked downstairs and describes what he saw next.
And when I came downstairs, I saw he was holding his chest and it was bleeding, was dripping blood on the whole place. And she was holding the knife and she was throwing stuff at him, and he was like, "She stabbed me, call the police." I saw him falling to the ground. I think he was already, that's really sad, he was my friend. I think he was already dead. I mean, the way he fall.
Even before police arrived at around 1:20 this morning, neighbors say they could hear a loud, angry argument.
What got me out of the house is the blood-curdling screams.
Cherie Sanders lives nearby.
I couldn't hear the actual words, but, it was angry, And then I started hearing the blood-curdling screams. Like help, like almost like a help type blood-curdling screams, and it was a woman.
Police say when they went inside, they found a 26-year-old man dead and a 27-year-old woman covered in blood. The woman was taken to a nearby hospital. Investigators say 2 other young men were inside the apartment. Both are cooperating with the investigation and are not suspects. Vinny Oliveira says after he got outside, he could hear screams as police went into the apartment.
She was on the ground. She was yelling. I was panicked, so I didn't see if she got stabbed or anything. Yeah. But when the police came in, they went to the house. I was right out of the house, and I heard the police like saying, "Stop, stop, stop," like she was doing something to herself.
The identity of the young man who was killed has not been released. Now, police say the young woman who was taken to the hospital was in surgery as recently as around 10 or 11 this morning. They have not had the opportunity to speak to her, so they are not really talking at all about the details of what happened. We have heard, however, the nightmare described by the roommate who was inside at the time. Let's go back to you.
Randy Page reporting live for us today in Thousand Oaks. Big scare at the Westfield Century City Shopping Center. A suspicious package created a bomb scare at Bloomingdale's, and that scare forced everyone to evacuate while the LAPD bomb squad checked everything out. Sky 2 over the scene just after 1:30 this afternoon. LAPD gave the all clear when they figured out it was just some headphones left underneath a chair.
All across the nation, America remembers those who gave their lives in service to our country. This morning, President Trump laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier during a ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. Mr. Trump thanked the 1.2 million Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom.
They died so that freedom could live. And today, our whole country thanks you, embraces you, and pledges to you. We will never forget our heroes.
This year also marks the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I. This morning before the ceremony at Arlington, President Trump tweeted, "Happy Memorial Day. Those who died for our great country would be very happy and proud at how well our country is doing today. Best economy in decades, lowest unemployment numbers for blacks and Hispanics ever, and women in 18 years, rebuilding our military, and so much more." Nice.
And today back here at home, people all over the Southland remembering those who died for our country. One of the largest Memorial Day services in the area is held every year at Green Hills Cemetery in Rancho Palos Verdes. And that's where CBS 2's Dave Lopez joins us now live to show you how they commemorated the day today. Dave?
Jeff, it was a very moving, touching ceremony. Well over 1,000 people here. It seems to get larger every year. They used to call Memorial Day Decoration Day, and as I look around this cemetery, you can see why. The flags represent the gravesite of those who lost their, or veterans who served their country, and then all of the flowers. And today, as every Memorial Day for the past 33 years, a special day. The scene? Green Hills Memorial Park in Rancho Palos Verdes, where 8,000 veterans are buried.
Ready! Aim! Fire!
The 33rd Memorial Day observance at this cemetery was moving.
So I ask you today to honor those hundreds of thousands who have given their lives in military service.
There were skydivers, some sporting parachutes that were colored red, white, and blue. White doves were released and circled above, and there was a stirring rendition of Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Followed by God Bless the USA.
God bless the USA.
Many in the crowd held flags, wore patriotic hats, and they seemed touched.
My father-in-law served in Normandy.
Did he survive?
No. He didn't, but this is our heart. This is my country.
Just graduated from high school.
Just out of high school, huh?
Out of Los Angeles High School. There were six of us. Six of us were all joined together.
His family said 95-year-old Rupert Frank De Leon is hard of hearing, but he vividly remembers that day when he and his buddies joined the Coast Guard to go fight for their country in World War II.
He was 35, so he was with the 49th Company.
Gerald Robert Finnegan was talking about his great-grandfather, the man he's named after. He was killed in World War I in France. He carries his picture on his cell phone.
Simply honoring their sacrifice.
The crowd was told this was not a day for celebration, but rather to honor, respect, and say thanks to all those who gave so much. And as you take a look at Old Glory fluttering in the breeze there, one other sobering thought on this day. Since the revolutionary time, more than 1.1 million men and women have lost their lives fighting for freedom in this country, including 500,000 men, women, and soldiers during the Civil War. Back to you.
All right, Dave, thank you. And of course, Memorial Day isn't just a day off, it is a day of remembrance. It was a sea of patriotism at the LA National Cemetery today. Red, white, and blue blanketed the graves of the men and women who died fighting for our nation.
Janet Rojas visited her sister's grave. Daniela died in Afghanistan 4 years ago, just at the age of 19.
We come every week, but today is special for her. So.
Why today?
To remember her serving her country.
So I say to the City of Angels, let us always remember the angels above us, the men and women who have paid the ultimate price.
At across town of Boyle Heights, veterans stood guard at the All Wars Memorial. They will stand guard for 24 hours in remembrance of the fallen.
And turning now to our weather, it was just perfect for all of today's events, wasn't it?
Yeah, CBS2 meteorologist Craig Herrera joins us now with a look at the first forecast here. Craig?
Yeah, Jeff, Susie, yeah, beautiful out there. Temperatures back to about average for this time of year. In fact, in downtown LA, got up to 73 on average. We're at 75. Look at that record, 101 way back in 1973. That was a warm day around here. Now, temperatures most spots have really warmed up compared to 24 hours ago. 90 in San Bernardino, 85 in Riverside. Check out Palm Springs, 102, 86 over in Van Nuys, and lots of 60s right up and down the coast. Changed from 24 hours ago, a whole lot warmer, about 8 to 10 degrees, and we've got a good sea breeze in place. High pressure, that's going to be in control again tomorrow. I'll have a look at the extended forecast coming up in just a bit and let you know when that marine layer makes a good comeback.
All right, Craig, thank you. A subtropical storm, Alberto, has now made landfall on the northern Gulf Coast. It is the first named storm of the season. The storm is slowly churning its way across the Florida panhandle right now. Its outer band stretched across Florida, dumping heavy rain as far east as Miami. Typically packed beaches were empty today. Red flags warn swimmers of dangerous rip currents and high surf.
It's usually crazy busy down here. People are staying at home and watching it themselves.
People are not allowed to go in the water. There could be legal consequences if they go in the water because they're very dangerous.
Well, all three states, Florida, Alabama, and Mississippi, are all already under a state of emergency tonight. People there could see up to 12 inches of rain and some serious flooding.
All right, now the search is on for a man who went missing during a powerful flash flood near Baltimore. This was the scene Sunday as the fast-moving flood turned the streets in Ellicott City into raging rivers.
Well, National Guardsman Edison Hermond was swept away while trying to help a woman rescue her cat. 8 inches of rain came down in about 3 hours. This is actually the second time in 2 years that severe flooding has damaged the city. Maryland's governor has now declared a state of emergency.
Former President George H.W. Bush is spending Memorial Day in a hospital. 93-year-old was admitted yesterday for low blood pressure and fatigue. Mr. Bush, who spends his summers in Kennebunkport, Maine, is missing the city's Memorial Day parade. His spokesperson says they expect him to be in the hospital for a couple of days. This is the second time that President Bush has been hospitalized since his wife Barbara died more than a month ago.
A beach brawl between a woman and a police officer goes viral.
And as you see there, the fight is caught on camera, but it's the woman, not the cop, who is in trouble tonight.
Plus, the FBI asking everyone to reset their routers right now. We're going to show you some easy fixes tonight.
And the mad dash home after a holiday weekend is already underway. Doesn't look too bad there. Look at how busy the roads and the airports may become coming up.